Royal fans would be forgiven for assuming that the late Queen's official Scottish residence was her beloved Balmoral. But in fact, this title officially belonged to the lesser-visited, imposing Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh. Her Majesty would only stay at the property for 1 week a year while hosting its annual garden party. Having been inherited by King Charles, it's not yet known whether he'll be a more regular visitor. Despite her fleeting trips, it's said the Queen had a great deal of sentimentality for the palace, and her coffin traveled there on its final journey to her resting place in Windsor. Holyrood House has a rich and bloody history, which some say still haunts it to this day. Here we take a look inside the impressive 289-room property, which has hosted some of the world's most influential figures. Classic design. The Gothic palace has belonged to the royal family for over 500 years and is their official residence in Scotland. It was built by James IV between 1501 and 1505 next to the ruins of Holyrood Abbey. While the sprawling home, which sits on 10 acres of land, is partly open to the public, the spacious upper floor is reserved for the royals' private apartments. The King's bedchamber is the largest room and is where the most important guests have had the pleasure of visiting. Its ceiling is elaborately decorated, and there's a magnificent four-poster bed dating back to the 17th century. The royal dining room has a neoclassical design with several portraits of Charles Edward and Henry, Cardinal York, who as princes were exiled. The morning drawing room is one of the most impressive rooms in the palace and offers incredible views of the garden. Like the King's bedchamber, this room's ceiling is extravagantly designed, featuring cherubs holding the initials of Charles A. The late Queen Elizabeth's coffin was placed in the throne room when it arrived at Holyrood House in September. In 2020, the royals offered fans a glimpse inside Holyrood House, sharing photos to Instagram of rarely seen rooms, including Queen Mary's bedchamber and supper room. Today, it is far less dramatic and is used to host official royal events throughout the year, including the annual garden party with up to 8,000 guests. Now it is cared for by an expert team of landscapers and is open to members of the public all year round. In recent decades, the palace has been the setting of a number of significant royal events. Queen Elizabeth II's granddaughter Zura Tindall and her husband, Mike, took a number of pictures at the palace following their 2011 wedding. The year prior, the Queen hosted then-Pope Benedict XVI there and were pictured walking to the morning drawing room. The photos showed a glimpse of the Great Staircase, which has tapestries on the wall dating back to the 16th century. Other notable guests to the palace include Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who all had audiences with the Queen there. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle attended a reception at the palace where they were serenaded by members of Impact Art in Scotland. The Princess of Wales also traveled to Holyrood House to meet 5-year-old cancer patient Mila Snedden and her family. The little girl featured in an image from Kate's Hold Still photography project, seen kissing her dad through a window while shielding during her chemotherapy treatment. Although the royal family never spend Christmas at Holyrood House, it still gets a festive makeover. A 10-foot tree is installed and decorated with miniature crowns.